UFC Fight Night, Michelle Waterson versus Angela Hill. This is the Karate Hottie versus Angela Overkill Hill. Muay Thai versus Karate, man. We got a hell of a card on our hands today. And I'm here with my guy, AJ. AJ, what's happening, bro?
What's going on? What's up, everybody?
Yeah,
How's it
man.
doing, buddy? How you doing?
We living good. We living good. But let's skip the formalities for a moment and let's jump straight into talking about Overeem versus Sakai, right? What we talked about in AFC 7. And we're going to jump straight into it because I feel like I did a disservice to some of these fighters. I felt like I maybe didn't give them the respect that they deserved. And I think that they went to they proved us wrong, both of us, I believe. So before we jump straight into what we think about the fights, man, or what I think about it, I want you to start off, man. What was something notable versus for that card? You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you, Derek. I did a little bit of disservice to Overeem. And his chin. It obviously held up. He took a fight. It was a great fight. It went hard. But I was thinking, did I do the disservice to Overeem's chin? Is that what held up in the fight? Or did Sakai get a little bit of knock for not being able to do what others did in the heavyweight fight? I don't know. He looked pretty mean to me. And Overeem looked like an absolute killer right at the end, dropping those elbows, planting, and then just coming in. It was very impressive. But I don't know. Yeah, what do you think, Derek? Go ahead.
Well, I'll just say this, man. I don't think that we did a disservice to his chin necessarily, but one thing stood out to me about this fight and one other one that we're going to talk about real quick, but it's this, man. Overeem is a veteran, and he showed it, right? The first 2 rounds, Sakai was putting it on him. I thought Sakai was going to get him out of there. I'm pretty sure Sakai had him hurt as well in those first couple rounds early, but from round 3 to round 5, that's the thing that you can't put a number or a value on is veteran experience, right? When you've seen it all, you've done it all, you fought everyone there is to fight. I mean, it ain't really nothing new with a Sakai, right? He brought him into the championship rounds, right? Round 5, and then got him out of there. So super impressive, man. Tell me a little bit about OSP versus Manifold, man. Tell me what you thought about that.
Another thing you're saying, veteran experience, and that's exactly what OSP did, man. One of the biggest things like that took me right from the start. He looked like a giant. He just looked oversized, huge. You could tell he used to fight a light heavy, but he was looking good. And another thing that I was rewatching this fight over and over again, and his timing. That's what caused the knockout. I don't know if you're watching, but about a minute and 15 left into round 2. Manifold throws sloppy right hand, and he starts pulling his punches back, starts circling his punches. And OSP sees it and literally catches him one time with the left. Not too clean, but catches it and sees it. You hear his coaches say, you saw it, you know it. And sure enough, hit him 2 more times, and that last one did same thing, looping right hand, and he just came over the top of the left and put him to sleep. It was incredibly smart, incredibly good fight IQ, reading that situation, and showed his veteran talent, being able to do that under that kind of pressure that Manifold was throwing.
No, right on, man. And I totally agree. That's literally what I saw is a veteran who was able to slow things down. So when you're in that cage, it's very valuable to be able to, in any sport really, slow it down a little bit and see what's coming at you. And for him to say, like in the post-fight interview, he was like, man, that felt good getting that knockout off. You know what I'm saying? Like, people think that, and I did it too. I said if OSP wins, he's going to win by submission. But he's showing that, dude, he is not one to be played with. And dude was just fighting John Jones not that long ago. Like, he is not a scrub. So that was a really dope fight. And I will say, so I got the OSP pick right, and I got the Overeem pick wrong. So, I mean, there's a little of something out there. But now, man, Paeta versus I'm a Dave. And I want to start off first on this one, if you don't mind, because I think Paeta showed that, antics aside, goofiness aside, dancing and all the theatrics aside, this man is a world beater. And once the crowd was removed, once it was literally just go time, professional time, you're fighting somebody who kind of slaps you up in the weigh-ins, you know what I mean? Like, once it turned into that, Paeta destroyed this man. I would say literally like a 10-8 in every single round if it would have went the distance. He destroyed him and then decided, I'm not going to get the decision win. I'm going to choke you out with like 20 seconds left in the fight to really showcase and let people know I'm the real deal, man. So I was super impressed. What's your take on that one?
So I was saying earlier, Derek, Emma Dave, he's no slouch, but Paeta made him look like a slouch in that fight. It was crazy. The things he was doing to him, he was literally imposing his will upon him in the match, and that was very impressive because he, like you said before, did the exact same thing to Diego Sanchez, and he's just continuing to keep beating savage opponents. It's very impressive by Michelle.
Yeah, there we go, man. So, folks, like that goes to show that, like, even if you don't know the names, once again, right, this is what we're trying to show is that you don't need to know the names, man. We'll let you know there's some banger of fights on the last card, and we definitely got some in this card. So let's jump straight into it, man. And AJ, I'd like you to start if you don't mind. Start off with your first sleeper of the night.
This is my first sleeper of the night. I'm going with he's an up and comer. The fight's Matt Frevola versus Roosevelt Roberts. Now Matt Frevola, good, 30 years old, 5'9", nice reach. He's 8-1 on a 2-fight win streak. Physically strong. He's going to look to slam, big slam. So it's kind of exciting for people who like the old school wrestler status. But he does get a little sloppy when he's tired, and we're going to see how his cardio holds up. In his last fight with who was against Luis Pena, the violent Bob Ross, he's facing another taller, but he's really good and at being able to control the distance and actually looking to take the fight to the ground. Roosevelt Roberts, on the other hand, tall, 6'2", 26 years old, young, scrappy. He needs to stay off the ground to line his striking, but he's violent. He's from the streets. He likes to talk. Comes in, fast hands, fast foot movement. He's there to showboat and kind of pick out a scrap. So it's kind of exciting to me because it brings back that joy of the youth where everybody's kind of on the street talking shit and fighting. And that's exactly what Roosevelt Roberts reminds me of, because he brings that scrappiness, that tenacity, and it's exciting. It's exciting, Derek. I don't know if you think about anything in this fight.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Robert, so I've been doing a little film study on him because he has fought one of the fighters I'm going to talk about for my first sleeper, which was Brock Weaver, and he fought him 2 fights ago. And what you said about him being kind of, hood, a little street, right? He fights with a chip on his shoulder. The man is no joke. His boxing is incredible. Like, this man's speed, his timing, his length, his reach, it's all incredible. But the one intangible is he fights with a chip on his shoulder, and it showed when he fought Brock Weaver, who was talking. Brock Weaver's a big talker, and Roosevelt Roberts put it on him, got him out of there real quick. It was beautiful to see, man. So I'm really excited for that because Matt Frevola knocks people's heads off, and Roosevelt Roberts, I mean, that's just a man that we don't really want to play with. So speaking of that, though, like I said, my first sleeper, Brock Weaver versus a fighter with, a couple days notice in terms of a replacement, who is Jalen Turner. So Brock Weaver was supposed to start this fight with Frank Camacho, which is why I chose this as a sleeper, because those were 2 fighters who, haven't had great stretches in the past, in their UFC tenure, and they're looking to get back on track. Now with this change up, I'm gonna break down the fight, but I want to let you know I don't think this is going to be competitive. This was already my sleeper, so I'm going to talk about it. So Brock Weaver, right? This is a man, I believe he's fighting out of Mobile, Alabama. So he is one of the indigenous folks, man. He fights in his tribe, and this dude is a huge, huge talker. So this is what I need to say about him. He likes to be first. As soon as the referee lets these 2 fight, he's going to press his opponent, get his opponent's back against the cage. But that's when I need to see something else happen there. That's kind of where it ends for him. And in his fight against Roosevelt Roberts, he would press him up against the cage, kind of clinch, try to take him down. When his takedowns didn't work, he was kind of ineffective. So he's going to be in your face. He's going to be looking to try to take your head off. And, he can throw some subs up off of his back, but I think where the real strategy comes here is he needs to be on his feet if he wants any chance of winning this fight, because Jalen Turner is so dangerous, lanky. Man, he got 8 knockout wins, 3 knockout losses, a couple submission wins, but he has incredible takedown defense, and he lands at almost a 50% clip out of that southpaw stance. So this is going to be a interesting fight. I think Jalen Turner is going to showcase himself here, but if Brock Weaver doesn't get it together, it's going to be ugly, man. He's already got 2 disqualification wins on his belt, so, I mean, nobody really wants to win by getting kneed in your face when you're on the ground, right? Getting knocked out. But he only has 5 finishes in his 15 wins. So either he gets knocked out or this is going to a decision. We'll see. What you got next, AJ?
Next up, I got a Dana White prospect, the Contender Series come up, Billy Quarantillo versus Kyle Nelson. Billy Quarantillo, I don't know if you've been watching, but he's been on a tear. 5-10, 7-win streak. He's killing it. 6 knockouts, 5 subs of his 11 finishes. He's very dangerous off his back. But what I like about this This 31-year-old man, I was about to call him a kid. He's a man. He's very smart, man, and his cardio is impressive. In his last fight against Spike Carlisle, he knew that Spike was just going to come out from the get-go, hard pressure all day long. He just has to survive the fight, and that's exactly what he did, and showed real true prowess and talent. It was very impressive. Now, Kyle Nelson, 29 years old, 5'11". He does have the reach advantage. He's very strong, very fast hands, and a heavy overhand right. But my problem with him is he likes to shell up and just take the abuse and trade, stand and trade. And it's not really the longevity of it. Can you shell up and just take the punishment and then deal out your own? Yeah, because he is very strong. But he's 2-1 in his UFC. It's going to be a hard test for Quarantillo. But we're looking to see how actually good Kyle Nelson is, because he did look real savage in his last fight against Polo Reyes in Mexico, where he put it to him in, I think it was 40-some seconds.
He got him out of there quick, man, and that's what I wanted to say. Literally, how I sum up Kyle Nelson is he will take one to give one. And that's where we'll see what happens next, man. So, man, for my next sleeper, I have the Raging Panda, number 14 ranked Julia Avila versus number 15 ranked Sijara Eubanks. So both Eubanks has been searching for a fight, a lot of cancellations. Avila, the same thing, a bunch of cancellations for her. But finally, these two get to fight. I'm going to say this, man. Julia Avila, the reason why I chose this as a sleeper is less from a competitive aspect, but more from you are going to see a show from Avila this Saturday. She is big for her weight class. So this is 135 pounds. This is bantamweight. So these are already pretty big females, right? But this woman has such broad shoulders. Her flexibility is on point. So this is what she's going to do. She's a Muay Thai fighter. She's going to get you up in the clinch, and she's going to knee you in your face out of the clinch every time. Like she likes to say, her knees never miss, man. I think that this is going to be a really, really dangerous fight for Sijara Eubanks, because the only path to victory I can see for Eubanks, who is traditionally a boxer, a kickboxer, is to keep the fight on the ground. So Avila, the comparison I make with Avila is this. You're familiar with Thiago Santos, who was actually supposed to be headlining this card, got canceled, him and Glover Teixeira, because Teixeira got popped for COVID. So you're familiar with Thiago Santos. Now, he has a very blitzy style. He'll, lull, and then blitz in on you, right? And Julia Avila is most effective when she is blitzing her opponents. It's kind of like most people inherently move backwards in a straight line when they're being rushed, right? It takes a lot of mental fortitude to remember your tactics and your technique to circle out, right? So if Sijara Eubanks doesn't circle out and she backs up in a straight line, it's going to be a short night. I will say this. You don't want to go on the ground. That's it. I wanted to make it all fancy. You don't want to go on the ground. Avila is a boa constrictor. That's all I got for this sleeper. What you got next, AJ?
Next up, a fight that just got moved to the main card. Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick.
Real quick, I don't mean to cut you off, but I completely forgot. Both of us forgot to mention this in the beginning of the card, so let's just do it really quickly. Folks, since we're in a state of pandemic, right, COVID is a real thing and all that, the UFC is going to be, all these matchups are subject to change. We're recording this on a Thursday. Weigh-ins don't happen until Friday, and the fight is obviously on Saturday. So by the time we were recording this, literally things changed from this morning. So we had to make a couple scrambles right before we started recording. So just understand that things are subject to change. Apologies. Continue, AJ.
No worries. So we got Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick. Now, Bobby Green, 5'10", 2-fight win streaks, another talker. That's why I like him. He's there. He's letting you know he's going to be in your face. He can fight both southpaw and conventional. And what I like about him, he's got these amazing front kicks. Just most people use them as kind of like gauging distance, but he's really using them to push you through and actually do some damage right to that solar plexus. He's got great head movement, good counter strikes. His win against Lando Venata, that was one of the I'd say at least top 15 fights I've seen in the last three or 4 months. Now, Alan Patrick, he's 5'11". He does have the reach advantage. He's great on the ground, a long, lanky southpaw, and he's big for the weight class. He destroyed Scott Holtzman with those elbows from the mount in round 3 last fight. But it also was about a year ago. He hasn't fought. He took all of 2019 off. So the big question in this fight, for me at least, is his ring rush is going to be there, or is he going to find that tenacity of wanting to fight again? He's big on looking for submissions, but it's going to be an interesting one to see how it actually turns out and how he's able to transform, or he gets back and doesn't really like the shine of the show.
Right on, man. So last sleeper that I got, man, is someone who I'm going to ask you this question first. So are you familiar with Matt Schnell? Have you ever heard of this fighter?
No.
So I hadn't either until I tuned into his fight, and then I just didn't recognize the name, but I have seen him fight. So I recommend this to everybody, AJ, to you as well. If you have a moment, you want to be entertained for a little bit, man, go watch his last fight versus Alejandro Pantoja. That was a firefight of a firefight. It's one of the best fights I have ever seen simply because it's straight Mexican style. You go into the center of the octagon and you bang it out. It's like, I'm forgetting the fighter who did it against him, but it was Max Holloway. There we go. That was, my bad for that. That was all bad. But Max Holloway, so he has one like famous clip where he's just like pointing to the middle, like right here, what's up? And then they stand and they trade. So Matt Schnell will do that to you any given moment. So this is what I have to say about him. Contrary to the bang it out style, man has 9 submission victories under his belt. He has 2 triangle choke wins in his last 3 fights. He is a firefight waiting to happen, has great mobility, and can beat you on the feet or choke you on the ground. So it's really a matter of picking your poison. Now his opponent, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little biased here, AJ. I'm a big fan of this man, not only because of his name, but because of his fighting style. So this is Tyson Nam is Matt Schnell's opponent. And I should make note that Matt Schnell is ranked number 9 in the UFC. Tyson Nam is more of a journeyman, veteran, a lot of fights under his belt. 19 wins, 11 losses. He's 1-2 in the UFC. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights. And if you saw his last fight, you would see this man could shut your lights off. It's all about the right hand. All about the right hand for Tyson Nam. His first pro fight was in 2006, so the man is once again seen it all, done it all. But I will say this. Outside of his 11 knockout wins, he has a style that will lull you to sleep. Very slow motion. It's kind of like he's stuck in molasses, right? And then he explodes and will knock your face off. Now, the only problem here is that Tyson Nam, at times, he needs to be involved in a firefight in order to kind of activate his offense, right? Sometimes he gets a little too complacent. He'll look in the mirror for a little bit too long. But if Matt Schnell, who I anticipate will bring this man into a firefight, this is going to be fireworks. So I definitely recommend. This is my favorite sleeper out of all of my sleepers, which say the best for last. You already dig. What you got, AJ?
I think that's all. I think that's it for the sleepers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
That's all 3. I think we got main card picks coming up, unless you have something else to add.
No, perfect, man. So let's get into it. Let's start it out from the jump. You talked about it a little bit, but we got Bobby Green versus Alan Patrick. Now, what are your thoughts on a winner for this fight? What do you pick?
I'm going with the slick talking King Green on this one. I'm looking for him to get in his head, knock out round 2. What do you think?
Right on. So I told you kind of before we aired, I'm not going to lie, folks. I'll keep it transparent. I'm not the most familiar with Alan Patrick. I haven't done the most film study on him, but just from what I have seen from Bobby Green, the man is on a tear right now, looking very, very impressive, and I'm going to go Bobby Green, but I'm going with the decision win, Bobby Green.
It's actually not a bad call. He does have a lot of decision wins. Next up, Billy Quarantillo versus Kyle Nelson. I got the prodigy Billy Quarantillo. Same thing, actually, though. I'm going decision on this one. It's going to be a long night for him.
So I actually am very familiar with Quarantillo, and I watched him fight on the Contender Series originally, right, make his kind of way into the UFC, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going Kyle Nelson, and the reason why is because when you watch Kyle Nelson fight, yes, he'll take one to give one, but the man, all it takes is one. And I'm going to give Kyle Nelson a puncher's chance, so I'm going Kyle Nelson, knockout, first round.
All right. So next up, we got Ed Herman versus Mike Rodriguez. Now, Ed Herman, veteran of the game, 14 submission wins. In his last fight, he did get tired in the third against Ibragimov. And Mike Rodriguez, headhunter, 9 wins by KO. I'm going Mike Rodriguez KO in this one simply because when I was watching him, I had one statement in my mind, and his nickname is Slow. And what they say in racing, as well as in fighting, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. In this case, and in his case, slow is deadly because he can fight. So I'm going Mike Rodriguez, KO. I'll say round 3.
Okay, interesting, man. So I'm going Ed Herman on this one, and the reason why is because the man's nickname is Short Fuse for a reason. First off, he's a big bruiser. He's a really big bruiser, so I think he's going to be able to match Mike Rodriguez kind of in that size category. And if you watched his fight against Patrick Cummins, man, he can eat shots, man. He can eat shots, and he can give it back to him. When I was watching it, every single strike that was landed by both opponents was rocking both opponents. Like watching a great heavyweight fight, right? Now, these are 205ers, and like I said, Ed Herman is a big boy, but in his fight versus Patrick Cummins, he caught him with a counter knee to his dome, knocked his lights out, put him to sleep. That was it. Ref jumped on him immediately. I'm going Ed Herman. I'm going knockout, round 2.
Round 2. All right. Next up, we got Roxanne Modafferi versus Andrea Lee. Now, Roxanne, I gotta admit, she's probably one of my favorite female fighters because you just do not expect this. So you see her pictures and her and I gotta apologize in advance because she looks like what most people consider goofy, but this goofy librarian-looking woman will take your head off. She's been in the game a long time. 03. She's still improving. Likes to keep the pressure, use striking of the opponent to actually work to take the takedown, and what I like about her, she's improving her striking so much. She has the classic just 1-2 right down the pipe, super fast. It's a headhunter. Against Andrea Lee, who they both did have a fight against Lauren Murphy last fight, and I will give that Lee did look a little better of it. She has a mean uppercut, but I'm still looking for Modafferi for the decision win.
So I can't be mad at you for the pick. I'm a big fan of Modafferi as well, and I kind of got my start watching her on the Contender Series. Once again, it's kind of where I'm seeing a lot of these up-and-coming fighters who are fighting very actively right now. But I can't give Modafferi the same respect you're giving her because of how much I have watched her fight. Now, I'm not saying she is not a talented fighter. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying do not discount Andrea Lee. She's ranked number 9 in the world for a reason, and this is where I see the clear path to victory for Lee. I see she has to be a kickboxer. She is a kickboxer. If she's in boxing range, she's going to beat up your legs. She's going to throw mean uppercuts. She's going to be in the pocket, and she's going to nonstop throw strikes at you. She's super cut, super strong. And in her last fight versus Lauren Murphy, I'm not going to sit here and say it was the most decisive win for Murphy. I can't say that. You know what I mean? But to be fair, Modafferi has shown that she can hang with some tough opponents. Her win versus Macy Barber, we need an asterisk next to that because Macy Barber tore up her ACL or some shit during that fight, which allowed Modafferi to kind of sit on her and just, ground and pound for the win. I'm going Andrea Lee. I'm going knockout first round.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Setting up big. Next up, Atman Azatar. I'm probably pronouncing this wrong. Azatar.
Atman Azatar. Yep.
Atman Azatar versus Kama Worthy. Now, Atman Azatar, he's undefeated. You can't deny it. He's on a big streak, 12-0, very heavy-handed. And what I like about this guy most, Derek, we talked about it earlier with OSP, he has timing. And timing will beat power 9 times out of 10. His knockout against, I'm probably going to pronounce this name wrong too, Pakalan. Mm-hmm. It was a perfect what they teach you. You duck that jab, come across with the overhand right, catch him right behind the ear, and put him to sleep. It was absolutely impressive. But Kama Worthy, he's 9 KOs, 3 sub. He's been in a little longer. He had a guillotine, a real impressive guillotine finish, which he's very dangerous at because he's so long and lanky against his last opponent, Luis Pena. But the biggest thing about Kama Worthy that kind of worries me a little bit, he's kind of herky-jerky. He likes to keep his feet still, planted, and do weird movements to kind of throw you off and then strike. He is a danger when he's off his back. I'm going Kama Worthy. I'd say decision.
Okay, right on, man. So I will say the same thing about Azatar. He is one of those smaller guys who has great mobility, who can come in, has perfect timing, and I really like how he just moves around and is kind of not too slow for it's 155er, not slow people, but there are slow 155ers in comparison to people at the top of the heap. Now, 4 out of his last 5 wins have come by a knockout, but what do we need to talk about that's important? Azatar, he is 1-0 in his UFC career. So every single one of those knockouts have not come from the UFC. It's actually been from a promotion. So he has 2 knockouts under a promotion called Brave. That's just what's called. Yeah, Brave. Actually, all of them, all 4 of them, Brave. So I don't know much about this promotion, I'll be honest with you. But it's not UFC. So we'll see what it takes, man. A lot of people could do really impressive stuff outside of the UFC, but this is where real killers are. Now, Kama Worthy, man. Let's just go over his resume real quick before I give my pick. Luis Pena, win, guillotine, sub, round 3. Devontae Smith, win, left hook, knockout, round 1. Adam Ward, win, punches, knockout, round 3, which was not, this is in 24/7 fighting championship, not in the UFC. Joey Munoz, decision win, 24/7 FC. And Tim Cho, win, rear naked choke, sub, round 2, Pinnacle FC. This dude is full of finishes, especially when he's fighting people who can really only mix it up on their feet. I'm giving this to Worthy, but I am going to go knockout, round 1. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, all right. On to the big one. The Karate Hottie versus Overkill Hill. Michelle Waterson. You already know. I'm going to say it, Derek. Jackson Wink. She's a scrapper. Very fast hands. What I actually like about it, because one of the first things I trained growing up was karate. And they teach you that long stance, come in with the side kick to the chest. And she is a very tricky front leg. Very tricky. It's going to be a lot of work to deal with it, especially because, like you said, Angela Hill has that Muay Thai. She's coming in front, arms wide, coming in very pressured too. So it's going to be very, very interesting, the tactics that are actually enabled by the fight camps, because they're both coming a very I wouldn't say Michelle Waterson's up and coming, but they're both on a rise to the belts. Now, Angela Hill, she does a great gas tank. You can't discount her. I personally think she won the Gedalia fight. It's up for debate. She did lose by split decision, but she needs to dominate the striking game and lead the dance in order to impose her will on Waterson to take the win. But I'm still going Waterson decision.
Okay, interesting, man. So I'm going opposite here. I am going Angela Hill. And the reason is this, man. First off, I'm a little biased. Angela Hill is one of my favorite fighters, but I'm also biased because Michelle Waterson is one of my favorite fighters as well. So this is similar to when Waterson fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I wanted both of them to win. You don't really want to see a loser here, because whoever wins this is on a clear shot to the belt. Like, legitimately, you do get a title opportunity if you win this or win one more after this. So the reason why I'm going to Hill is because of the Muay Thai stance particularly. I was watching her fight against Ariane Carnelossi. Apologies if I pronounce it wrong. But this was before she had fought Hannah Cyphers. This is before she had fought Luke Boonmi and before Gedalia. So she's been very active. And what she was displaying was, I'm going to clinch you up. I'm going to break off the clinch with the elbow, with the strike, with the kick. I just think that if Karate Hottie has any chance of winning, she has to be getting that side kick going. That leg, that lead leg really needs to be more or less a jab, right? So if that is the case, then you're going to keep Hill out of even striking zone to where it's just going to be like a point style match the whole fight. This is 5 rounds. I don't see that happening. I see Hill getting on the inside, maybe losing the first 2 rounds, but the last 3 rounds, I don't see how Hill doesn't win, because she has an amazing gas tank. She doesn't get tired striking a bunch. Her mobility is incredible. And, so let's see. So she was on a 3-fight winning streak. It should be a 4-fight winning streak if we're being honest, because I think she won the Gedalia fight. And I think she knows how to lead the dance. And it's bad blood. I don't know if you know this. This is bad blood between Waterson and Hill, right? So I want to see fireworks. I think we're going to see fireworks. And the reason why, I'm going to be honest with you to wrap up my pick. When this was a 3-round fight, when this was the co-main, I was very 50-50 and I was leaning Waterson. But since this has gotten moved to a 5-round fight, I have to go Hill. I don't see how I can't go Hill, so I'm going decision win. Angela Hill, put her on track to get a title belt, man. 115 pounds. I don't know, man. Is that whose division is that? Is that Weili Zhang?
I believe so.
And that's going to be scary. And I don't even know if Hill could pass that test. But I'd like to see her get a chance. So that looks like that's all the picks we got. That is the entire main card. We gave you some sleepers to watch. This, man, is still, right? We're still counting down the weeks. We still got a lot of great cards until we hit Adesanya, Paulo Costa. Once again, we're not going to overlook nothing. So let's get this one first. Hopefully I get 5 out of 5 on my picks. We'll see how it goes. AJ, you got anything else to wrap up this episode?
Man, biggest thing, I'm excited for this week. If you noticed in a lot of my picks, I'm going decision because I do think not all these fights are gonna go to a KO. But there's a ton of high level stuff you can learn from watching them, and I'm excited to see these people go at it, man. So I'm happy to be here again, brother.
Yeah, right on, man. Hell of a card, as always. And let us know who you got. Let us know. Hit us up in the comments, all that stuff. AJ, man, let the people know where they can follow you at on Instagram.
Hey man, follow me at _ENT_AJ. We'll link it in the bio. Follow us on Instagram. Make sure you give the Portland Free Thinker Club a follow, subscribe, all that.
Right on.
Man, we'll be at it.
Right on. So that's it. Until next time, folks. Peace.